I've been an Android user for the last 4 years or so, and I would consider that that is actually an apt amount of time to familiarize and to become attached to an operating system. And the last iPhone I personally owned was the original iPhone SE, and before that I had an iPhone 5S and an iPhone 4S, I believe. So yeah, I do have a bit of a history with them, but that was back when iPhones used to be a lot smaller. And while I'm not completely abandoning Android entirely, this new iPhone SE does make a compelling argument for keeping me on iOS, at least for a little while. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's begin with an unboxing. So first, you will want to peel the plastic from the tab to unravel the box itself. Just lift up the lid to find the iPhone SE sitting right on the top. It looks a lot like an iPhone 8. Let's put it aside to discover the instructions: complimentary lightning earbuds, a lightning cable for charging. At the other end, it's going to be USB-A, by the way, not USB-C, and it's low wattage power brick. It's a nice little unboxing, and that is pretty usual and typical from Apple, through and through. But let's get into the actual device. So the iPhone SE is constructed of glass from the front and the back, with aluminum around the corners. This phone is built incredibly well, and it feels much more premium than the price might actually suggest. I love the size, I love the ergonomics, and I love my home button. I really did miss it. And speaking of which, on the front you will find that the home button has returned in the form of the touch-sensitive haptic feedback, delivering slab of glass that we're used to seeing from the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 8. It's pretty good stuff. On the right, there's a SIM card slot and a sleep-wake button. On the left, there's a mute switch and volume controls. On the bottom, there's a single speaker, not two, which was disappointing, and a lightning connection. And this device features a 4.7-inch Retina display running at 1334 by 750p and 60 Hz or 60 frames per second. This display sounds bad on paper, but in person it looks pretty fantastic. Everything looks nice and sharp, and the colors are very vibrant and beautiful, and it's honestly a great size. I think this phone doesn't feel too small at all. I think it's perfect the way that it is. Though, when you put the screen side by side with something like my Pixel 4, which has a 1080p screen with a 90Hz refresh rate, the phone might appear a little bit sluggish in comparison, even if the hardware is awesome, and it's definitely not as nice to look at. On its own, however, it's a beautiful display and a great one for the price, probably the best one actually. And now, I'm not in love with the speakers setup here. I did expect stereo speakers because we don't have a headphone jack, and it even looks like it has a serial set of speakers, considering that if you look at the bottom, it looks just like that, but it doesn't at all. It's not a very loud speaker, and it doesn't sound very good at all, in my opinion. It sounds completely average for the price tag, I guess. So go ahead and have a listen.
But either way, it is a nice case, and much nicer than the Hammerhead's True Wireless Buds case, by the way. So hey, we don't have a completely terrible product on that regard either. And as for comfort, these are very comfortable. I can wear these for a long period of time.
This device features an Apple A13 Bionic CPU, 3 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage with an option of getting up to 256 gigs, a 4.7-inch 1334 by 750 Retina display running at 60 Hz, an 1821 mAh battery, a 7-megapixel front-facing camera running at 1080p at 30 frames per second max, and a single 12-megapixel rear-facing camera running at 4K at 60 frames per second tops, and a slow motion at up to 1080p at 240 frames per second. Very impressive stuff, for the most part. Now that we talked about the specs of the cameras, but how do they actually perform? They perform exceptionally, actually. For a $400 phone, I'm surprised with the results that you get from both the front and rear-facing cameras. And a front-facing camera delivers on great portrait shots that still remain incredibly sharp and retain decent dynamic range. The rear-facing camera will deliver on sharp, high-quality 4K videos that consistently look great and even in low light, but that's when it begins to struggle a little bit more like any other camera. They are both great cameras and they offer the essentials, but they take it a step above, and that is very important. The cameras are some of the best you're going to find within this price tag, guaranteed. It's absolutely fantastic. Even just in overall performance, you're getting a solid phone. This is a very powerful CPU that crushes a game like Asphalt 9 and the like without any issues at all. However, still, in everyday use, it's still a great performer regardless of what I'm doing on it. And that could just be browsing the web or any app. It's always going to be a great experience, and I haven't experienced any stutters on this device whatsoever, even though it does feel significantly slower than something like my Pixel because of the lack of a high refresh rate screen. Tasks still feel very good, and it does remind me, I guess, of using an iPhone a couple of years ago. So that is worth noting. And as for other special features, you got an IP67 rating, which means that this iPhone is actually water resistant and dust resistant. And thanks to the glass back, it also supports wireless charging, which was a happy surprise for sure. You also get a fingerprint scanner, which, I mean, it's very nice to actually have that back. It's incredibly useful, and you can use it with a ton of different apps, your banking apps and everything. Yeah, that just makes things so much easier. I wish that they brought more facial recognition support or login options on Android the same way that they have on iPhone, but you do still get the fingerprint scanner here, which is awesome. Though that was mostly a jab on Android, not at all on the iPhone. I think it does great there. Battery life isn't exceptional. This phone probably won't last you all day because of its small battery, but it should get you most of the way there. I would say that it should survive a normal 8 to 12 hour day of normal use like web browsing, responding to messages, and answering calls every now and then, with some YouTube and pretty frequent Spotify paired with my AirPods Pro or something like that. It can handle a lot, but it's not an amazing battery. As in, depending on your usage, it could last you all day, but depending on your usage, it could also die way faster than that. So keep that in mind. It's a pretty tiny battery in comparison to 2020 standards. And I've been praising this phone up until now, but I think it's important to bring up my gripes. Firstly, there's still no USB-C port, but that's expected. I get that this is a cheap phone, but the second speaker grill appears to be there already, and I just think it's kind of weird that it's not there. This should have been a serial, since the speakers are more mediocre than I expected. It really does remind me of the older iPhones, if I'm honest. It sucks, also, that we did not get a nice big battery or that second speaker in exchange for the headphone jack, which is still missing, but that's also to be expected since the headphone jack is essentially dead. If Samsung killed it about a year ago or so, then it's pretty much gone forever on all phones. I mean, not even their tablets have headphone jacks anymore, not the Pro models at least. So, the iPhone SE is a totally different beast than what it was when the original one released, and for $400, which is actually what the original one released at, fun fact, you're getting a lot of your money. You have a beautiful display, a great design, wireless charging, amazing cameras, and great performance with good battery life, to be honest. Sure, you're making some compromises here and there, but this version of the iPhone SE is better than ever, and it's well worth its price tag. So if this is your budget, strongly recommend it. You're getting an amazing phone for that price. And so, if you're interested in purchasing the iPhone SE, then I will be making sure to leave affiliate links to Amazon and also affiliate links to Luster, which is a separate alternative for helping you find other purchase alternatives, other suggestions for what phones would be good, or even just help you find some sales online. And remember that both of these are going to be affiliated links. So if you end up using either of these links, I do get a small kickback that helps me run things just a little bit more smoothly around here. So if you were to use those, I would appreciate that quite a bit. And also, if you like me enough, then do make sure to follow me on Twitch, where I like to stream every Friday and Saturday from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. My stream schedule will be changing pretty soon because I am actually thinking of extending that a lot more, and I might be streaming on YouTube pretty soon, but that is all to be decided yet. If you would like to see me on other forms of social media also, then don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I am fairly active, and you will be able to keep up with the latest and greatest in regard to the Tech Summit endeavors. So do make sure to follow me through all of those links below. I would appreciate that greatly. So with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy!